Hello everyone, this is Harry, and in this video we are going to look into the part 2 of the chapter 1 of the book. If you have directly landed here, I would recommend you to go through the part 1 first and then come back here, because this one is the continuation of the previous topics that we have discussed. Before we jump into the content, I wanted to make a very important note that do not use these videos only for your exam preparation. Please do a lot of practice of each and every concept that you read, no matter how simple the concept looks. And also read the book at least once, if not twice, so that you are super clear on the concept, and then giving exam will be very straightforward for you. All right, let's look into the agenda for this video. So we will look into how to pass the data into the main method. So we have written the main method previously. Now we'll see how to pass data into the main method from the user. We will see a shortcut way of running a program. So this concept was introduced only in Java 11. We will look into the packages in Java and how to use them, how to create them. We will look into the jar files, like what jar file is, how to create it, and why do we need to create jar files. And finally, we will look into the structure of a Java class, or like a typical Java class, and then there is some sequencing that we need to follow. We will look into what sequencing that is. Java is not very strict, but there are some rules that we need to remember when we write a Java program. Let's look into our first topic, which is passing the data to a program. For this concept, let's write a program and call it as greetings.java. So what this program will do is, when we run the program, so this program will print good day and then the name of the person who is running it, and this name will be dynamic, so we can provide this name when we run the program. The way we provide the argument to the program is via the command line, just by adding a space separated arguments at the end of the command. So for example, in our case, we will run the program as Java, then greetings, which is the class name, and then Harry. So Harry is the argument we are passing to the program. Let's jump on the console and write the program. Let me create a new Java file called greetings.java, and then the class declaration. And in the class, we will write the main method, which is the entry point of the program. Let me put a print statement where the program will be printing good day and then the data that we provide it while running the program. So the way data is available to the program is via the array in the main method, which is the args array in this case. So that is how the data will be available to the program, and then we will use the args array to access the data. If you don't know about arrays, so Java arrays are no different than any other languages array, but if you don't know arrays in general, so arrays are a data structure where the data is stored in the indexed form, and then we can access the data by using the variable and the corresponding index, and the index starts from 0. We will learn a lot more about arrays in the following chapter, but for now, just think of an array as a collection of data arranged in an indexed order and starting with the 0. And the syntax of accessing the data from array is, we write the variable name, which is args, and then the square bracket start, and then the integer index, and then close the square bracket. In our case, the index is 0, and this way we will be able to print the 0th element, which is the very first argument in the program. Now let's compile and run the program. So as you see, I have provided Harry as the argument, and then program went ahead and printed good day, and that Harry is what I provided when running the program. Now I can run the program with any name, John in this case, and it's gonna print John. Now let's modify the program and let's give it 2 names now. So instead of 1, let's give it 2 names and see how to access them. So it's very similar, just that previously we used 0 index. Now we will be using the index 1 for the second argument. All right, let's compile the program again and then rerun it with the 2 arguments. So for providing the 2 arguments, we need to separate them by space. So as soon as the Java sees a space, then it takes it as the start of the next argument. So in this case, all we need to do is we need to separate Harry and John with a space, and Java will know that the John is a second argument. And there you go. So we see printed Harry and John, both are printed. Now let's say, what if I want to give 1 argument with a space, because Java by default takes a space as an argument separator. So if we have to give 1 argument with a space, let's say if we have to provide the full name of Harry, then I need to separate my name with a space, like Harry space Gill, but I want Java to consider it as 1 argument rather than 2 argument. So let's see how to do that. So let's first run the program as is, but I want Java to consider Harry Gill as 1 argument. So to do that, I would wrap Harry Gill in double quotes, and that way Java knows that this is only 1 argument, so it doesn't split Harry and Gill into 2 different arguments. So by running this program, so you see now it says Harry, good day Harry Gill, and then John in the second line. So John is our second argument. Now moving on to the next concept regarding providing the arguments. Now let's say I remove 1 argument from here. Let's remove John from the while we run the program. So when we do that, program will throw an exception, and the exception name is array index out of bound exception. So exception, if you don't know what exceptions are, so in a very short description, so exception is a way of telling Java to the program that something unintended happened. So which means in this case the program is expecting a second argument. Since we are printing args1, so it's expecting the second argument, but when running the user didn't provide, like in this case I didn't provide the second argument, so Java doesn't know what to print as a second argument. So in the real world scenario, so we would usually do input validation. So usually we would check the length of the array before accessing it, so that we don't get array index out of bound exception. Let's move on to our next topic, which is the shortcut way of running the program, which is introduced only in Java 11. So typically what we have seen so far is that we do a 2-step process for running the program. So in step 1, we write the Java program, and then we compile it using the Java C, which creates a .class file. And in step 2, we run the program using the Java command. We give a main class and then asks if there are any. So for example, previously we did Java greetings Harry and John. So in the second step, so it's a 2-step process. But the shortcut way is that we write a Java program and then we directly run it using the Java command, and then the program will perform its logic and then do whatever it is supposed to do. So for example, we don't need to do Java main class and args. Instead, we will still use the Java command, but now we will give the file name. So in our previous example, so we would give Java, then greetings.java, and then the args. So the main difference is that instead of giving the class name to Java, we are giving the full file name, which is the class name .java extension, and then running the program. And in this case, we don't have to compile. Compilation will happen in the background. Let's jump on the terminal and quickly run our program and see how it works. So I will run this program, but there will be an error, and I'll tell you what error is and why you would see it. So let me just run the program as is. So when running this, so it says class found on application class path, greetings. So what this means is that when we are running the program in the shortcut way, the Java says that the .class file already exists. So it won't be performing the compilation in memory. And the reason .class exists because previously we have compiled the program explicitly, like in our previous, for our previous concept demonstration. So that's why the class exists, and that's when it wouldn't, we cannot use the shortcut way. So the solution is we simply remove the greetings.class file, and then we can rerun the program. And there you go. Now, as you see, the program just ran fine. If I list the content of the directory, you will see there is no class file created that we can see. So everything happened in memory. Let's move on to the next topic, which is packages in Java. So Java puts each and every class in a package. So think of classes as files on a file system. Just like a file cannot exist on its own, it has to be in a folder. Even if we put the file in the root folder, but still it would still go in the root folder. So similarly, every Java class does have to belong to a package. So classes should be referenced using the full canonical name, or we can use imports, and then we can use the shortcut way of referencing a class. We will see an example. So let's use a class called random, and this class is available in the Java library, so we don't have to write. So in the example that we will see, we will just reference, we wouldn't use the random class, we will just declare it and see what error do we get and how to resolve it. So let me create a new Java file, import example.java. Let me write the bare bones structure of the class. And now in this main method, let's just declare a variable R of the type random, and let's just compile and see what happens. It will error out. I'll show you what error it shows. So compiling this, it says cannot find symbol, and then it puts a caret under random. So it's saying, so what this means is Java is saying that you are using a random class, but I don't know where to find random. So to solve this problem, there are multiple ways. Let's see each one of them one by one. Actually, before I show you the different ways to fix the problem, let me just show you where exactly the random class lives. So if you just Google random Java class and then click on the very first link. So we are using the Java 8, but packages rarely changes version to version, so it doesn't matter. So as you see, the random class lives in java.util package. So to solve this problem, so one way is to refer the class or declare the class with the full canonical name. So we can say java.util.random R. Now let's compile the program and see if it compiles fine or not. Right, so we didn't see any error, so which means the code compiled fine. So using this way, the problem is that if you have a lot of variables, and then you will have to do a lot of typing, and especially if you are using multiple classes in java.util, we will have to type java.util multiple times. So the shortcut way is we will simply import java.util.random at the top. And once we do that, then we can simply reference the class random by just the word random rather than the full name. So Java knows where the random class lives through the import statement. Now let's compile the program and see if it compiles fine. Oops, missed Java extension. So yep, no error, so it compiled fine. So this is a second way on how that problem can be solved. So when importing a class, we don't have to always reference to the exact class. We can also use a wildcard asterisk. So this is a way to tell to Java that I want to import all the classes under java.util. And now you can use all the classes under java.util without any additional import. So this is the benefit of having import. If you would use another class from the same package and using the previous method, which was to provide the full canonical name, then you had to write java.util in front of each and every class, even though they are in the same package. So if you use star, it would import all the classes from that package. And note that importing star doesn't reduce the performance of the program, so or it doesn't slow down the program at all. It's just a different way to do the imports, and it also depends a lot on the personal preference. Some people, even if there are two classes from the same package, they would still list down two imports rather than using one import with the star. So it's totally personal preference, but exam will use both of them, like on and off. So you need to know both the ways. Now let's compile the program. And it compiled fine as expected. Now within the imports, we are moving on to the next topic on how to resolve the conflicts. I'll give you an interesting scenario. So there is a class called date, and that class is present in java.util package, and that same class name is present in java.sql package. So both the classes, the functionality of both the classes would be different, but they have been named same. So now let's say we have declared a variable called date, and say for some reason we are also using other classes from util package, from Java util package and Java SQL package. So we will be importing both with the star, and let's see how the program behaves in that scenario. Let me compile the program. So the compilation gave an error, and it says reference date is ambiguous, and it also prints that the package java.sql.date and java.util.date, both of them exist. So Java doesn't know which date should be used. So to fix this conflict, there are different ways. So one way is that we can give the full canonical name to the date, just like we had done random without providing the import. So that's one way. Let's try to compile the program with that fix. So it compiled fine now. Now it knows which exact date to be used. Or another way is that we can explicitly import that class. So even though we have java.util.star, we can still import java util date, and now Java knows which exact date do I need to pick up, in this case, which is from java.util but not java.sql. And the program compiled fine. Let's move on to the next part of the same topic of packages. So far we have only used the packages that already existed. So we have used java.util and we have used java.sql. So both the packages already exist in the library, so we didn't have to create them. Now let's see how do we create a package. So in this example, so we will be creating a class A, and then we will be creating a class B. we will put the class A into the package called package A. We'll put the class B into the package called package B, and then the class B will be referencing class A, just like in our import example, we referenced random and we also referenced date. Let's jump on the terminal and do a hands-on. For this example, let me create a new directory. So package examples, let me go into directory, and what we will do is we will first create the folder names similar to our package name. So in our example, we have a package A and we have a package B. So let's create two folders, package A and package B, or two directories, and put our class into the corresponding directories. So I'll make directory package A. I'll jump into that directory, and I'll create a class A with the bare minimum code. Now to put a class A into the package A, we will use the keyword package at the top of the class, and that's how Java knows which package does a class belong. So the keyword is package, and then we give the package name as a dot separator. So in this case, we have only one name, like we don't have Java dot util, like we only have package A, so we don't have to put any dot. So this is the package declaration. Now Java will put class A into the package A. Now let me create another directory called package B and jump into that directory and create a class B, and I will create this class B as a main class, which means it will have our main method, which is the entry point of the class. And again, for putting the class B into the package B, we will use the package keyword at the top of the class. And now I'll refer class A into the class B. And since we are referencing a class from a different package, we will have to import it. I actually forgot to mention previously that if a class lives in the same package, then we don't need an import. So by default, Java will look into the current package, but we only need imports if the class stays in a different package. So which is the case here. Let me list the content of the directory. So as you see, we created two files and put them into two different directories based on the package names. Let me compile it. The way we will compile this is we will use the Javac and then give each and every class name that we have created. In our case, there are two classes, so we'll provide both of them. And now after compilation, it creates a .class file. And as you see from the directory structure, the .class file lives in the same directory where our .java file lives. So this is the reason we have created the directories with the same name as the package. While we are here, just wanted to show you also how can we run the file which are in packages. So far we have not defined, we didn't put any class into any package. So by default, Java creates a default package, and it's called a default, and it puts all the classes into that package. So when we had to run the program, we didn't have to provide any package name because by default it picked up from the default package. But now since we have created our own package, the way we will run the program is we will provide the full canonical name of the class. So we will have to say Java package B dot class B. So we can't say Java class B. It's gonna error out saying class not found. So in this example, so as you see, all the classes files are in the same directory as .java files. So this is the default behavior of when we compile the code. So let me first remove the classes. I want to show you a way to put the classes into a different directory, and we'll see why do we need that. So now you see I have deleted the class files. Let me compile the code with the -d option. -d tells Javac to put the classes into the different directory, and the directory we can provide with the -d. In this case, I'm providing the directory as classes. And also in a package, we don't have to provide all the classes. When compiling, we can actually say star.java. So this is another way of compiling. So this at least helps us reduce the number of classes that we have to type when we do a compilation of the code. So as you see, no error, so it compiled fine. And if I do a find, if you notice our directory structure now, all the .class files are actually put into the classes directory. Now that we have put all the classes into a different directory, in our case we have called it classes. So now let's see, how do we run the program in this case? Let me first run the program as is without any special thing. So we'll choose to Java package B and then class B and hit enter. It fails with the error saying cannot find or load main class package B dot class B. So what Java is telling is that I don't know where class B lives. You have provided the package, sure, but I don't know where does the class live. By default, Java will only look into the directories where your Java code lives. So that's why previously when the .class file was sitting next to the .java file, and then we could simply run it with the Java command and giving the package name. But now we have put the classes into a different directory, and by using the -d option when we did Java C, the compilation of the code. So now when we run it, we again need to tell where did we decided to put our classes, and the way we do it is with the option -cp. So CP stands for class path. So in this case, our class path is classes. So as you see, now our program ran fine. We didn't put any print statement, but that's okay. If we don't see any error, that means it worked as expected. So there are other ways we can provide the class path name. So it's just a different ways on how we provide, but it's essentially same thing. So if you just type Java --help, and somewhere at the top there will be so here is the CP, and instead of CP we can spell it out like saying class path, or we can say class -path. So all the three arguments or all the three options does the exact same thing. It tells Java where to find the classes. So this concludes our section. As I have already mentioned, please do practice it. The more you practice, the more you will learn, and the easier the concept will become to you. So the next topic that we are discussing will be the jar files. So in the previous example, we have seen there are two classes that we created. Now let's say you have to share these two classes. So one option is to copy these two classes and then share it with someone. But as the number of classes grows, it will be a bit of pain to share all the classes. So which is where the jar comes into picture. So jar is very similar to our zip files, where zip files are collection of multiple files into one zip file. Jar is collection of multiple classes into one jar file, and we can create one jar file and then share the jar file with the other team members so that they can use your program. So the sharing of the code is very easy. So we use jar in our real world scenarios a lot. So in the real world, we have a central repositories in the internet where people would load their jar files, and whoever needs it would get it from there. So let's see how can we create the jar files. So let's use our same example from previous. So we would say jar -cvf, and then I'll name the jar as my first jar, and then we need to give from where the jar file will be created, and in our case it's from classes. So this is the reason we have put our classes into the classes folder. So now the jar file will only go to the classes folder and then pick all the files and then bundle them together. So when creating a jar wouldn't know whether it's a class file or a Java file. So if we wouldn't have put all the class file into a different folder, and if we would have just said create jar file of the current directory, it would have also bundled the Java program, the Java classes as well in the jar file. So as I told, jar file is just a zip file. So it's just collection of files essentially. So it doesn't care if it's a class file or it's a Java file, it will just bundle them together. So it shows you the content that's added. And as you see, we have created a jar file and it contains class A and class B dot class files. Let's say you get a jar file from someone else and you want to view the content of it. You want to view what's in the jar file. So you can use the option T, list all the content. So it's jar tvf and then list the jar, and it will show you what different files do we have within the jar. In our case, it's class A and class B. So this concludes our topic. So in our next topic, we will discuss the ordering of the elements within a Java class. So Java is not very strict with the ordering, as I mentioned previously, but still Java expects some level of ordering, which we will see here. So the table that I have created, so it has the item, and then I'll give you an example statement. Then I'll tell you the ordering of the element. Let's start with comments. So comments could be like single line or multi-line, as we have seen in the previous part. So comments can go anywhere in the file. So there isn't any restriction where the comments can go. The package declaration. So package declaration, as we have seen previously, we can do the package and then give the package name and with the semicolon. So this line has to be the very first executable line of the Java file. So the comments can be above it, but comments are ignored by compiler, so they are not considered as executable part. So this has to be first executable part of the file. So the next step is import statement. So import statement should go after the package declaration and before the class definition starts. And after that, we will have the class declaration. Next are class members, so which is variables and the method of the class. So the ordering of the class members within itself doesn't matter. So if we can have class variables and methods in any order, as long as they are within the class. However, as a general practice, the variables are defined at then we write the methods at the bottom. But that's not mandated by the Java compiler. It's just a practice that everyone follows. That concludes our video, and thank you so much for staying with me. And if you have liked the video, please hit the like button, and for the future videos, please subscribe so that you get the notification of the video. I will see you in the next video.